All right, what is up, everybody? Asian Fasha Gamer here. Welcome to the Second Buncha Dudes Podcast. Going to be myself, joined by my buddy Art and Vinatu and Cappy and Trip Hazard here, and then my buddy Ty is going to be chumming in a little bit later as soon as she's done eating. But today's subject, we're going to be talking about nostalgic gaming. Going to be bringing up gaming memories, talking about everything that we love about gaming in honor of Memorial Day, and to all of the soldiers out there, thank you for your service. We love you guys, and we appreciate every single one of you.
Yeah.
All right, then. So let's get on into it. So nostalgic gaming. Let's talk about our first favorite memory when it comes to gaming. What is it that we, what is it that we remember that makes us love gaming?
Spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours just playing the same game over and over again.
Yeah, I guess Pokemon Red under the blanket with a flashlight.
Oh.
Making little forts.
Yeah, and then your mom coming in. Turn that light off! I told you to go to bed. It's midnight.
Or
I was a Pokemon Blue guy, so
I have all of them. So
Yeah, I was a
But no,
Pokemon
yeah.
all guy. I had to get them all.
I guess this is just going to be talking about Pokemon all day.
No. There's other games. I mean, honestly, I remember the first multiplayer game I ever played, and this is one of my favorite memories because it's an old friend of mine who sadly he passed away. But it was I keep forgetting the name of the game, but it was an N64 game where there was three characters that you could choose. One of them was a robotic tank dog, and you shot a bunch of...
Oh, that's Jeff Force Gemini.
Yes, that's the game. Oh my god,
I love Jet Force
fucking
Gemini.
love that game. Shit, that was our only F-bomb that were allowed early on.
What
I
about
think
the
good
shit?
too.
No, that's okay. I've heard other streams that had that, other podcasts that had that early on, but we got to make sure we don't have another F-bomb. But yes,
Good
so
job.
yeah, Jet Force Gemini. Oh man, that was the one game that me and my buddy we played hours on end until his mom kicked us out of his house.
Oh my gosh. You guys remember the game Glover?
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of N64.
Yeah, it's a glove.
It reminded me, honestly, like when I played that game, I was honestly thinking about Hamburger Helper the whole time.
Same!
Glove World.
Oh man,
Ew, blood flavored.
Oddworld was one of those games that led me into what was that game? Legacy of Kain. Those games were so well done story wise.
What, Soul Reaver?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Soul Reaver, and I really wish... I don't know what's happened to the company, but I really wish that they would make another one, because that game was so good.
Well, there
Like, all of them.
there's a talk of a Legacy of Kain remaster and remake. So I'm kind of excited to see what that's going to be like. But as for what Random Task here, Throwback, Conker's Bad Fur Day. That was the one game my parents regretted letting me play. That was one of those games that was just like, wait, this isn't for kids.
3 words. Great mighty poo.
Oh man. Oh, and he was a poo thrower. Oh,
That was his song too. I am the great mighty poo, and I'm going to throw my shit at you.
yes, that was his shtick.
Oh
Well,
man.
not until the Xbox release was uncut.
Oh yeah, that's when they took away the censor bars. And add in a couple things that were in the cut version.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Well,
like
I know you said to keep it PG as best we can, but BMX Triple X was that was a classic.
Oh, if we're gonna bring out games like that, like Leisure Shoot Larry. That, if anybody played that one, was just the oddest game ever made.
There's so many of them though. There's like literally like 10 games that they've made of Leisure Suite Larry.
I know they went all out with that game, and I don't know why it went so big, because when you played the games, they weren't really good. Now, one game that I do remember that's been like a series that I played for a while was Star Fox.
Oh yeah,
Star Fox is a great game.
Have you seen the? I don't know whether it's legit, but apparently there is a Star Fox movie coming out. Have you seen the artwork for Star Fox the movie?
There's a movie, or like a...
No. Apparently, there's a full blown movie coming on. Give me a second. Let me see if I can, because this is something that you might have to pull up on stream.
And
but
show
let me
it off.
see if I can find.
Oh man, yeah. Now, okay. While he's doing that, for Star Fox, did you guys? What did you guys think about the whole 360 that they did with the game change when it came out for, I think it was the GameCube? When they made it a third-person action-adventure game?
Oh yeah, run around and find the dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about
didn't
that?
play it,
No,
but
you
it
didn't
spawned
play
a lot of furry artwork, I'll tell you that.
Yes, it did. It definitely did.
Yeah, I never played it personally, but I've seen buddies play it for sure.
I don't know, it's something that didn't really interest me, and I've always wondered about if anybody actually checked it. But yeah, no, there's some games that did a weird change from their originals, like Fallout. If you guys ever played the original Fallout, where it was a top-down, almost RTS style.
Yeah. Doesn't Fallout 76 have something like that? Like a different version of it? It's like reminiscent of the first one?
I'm not sure. I actually haven't checked out 76.
Because I thought I saw one of my buddies play it, and it looked very reminiscent. It's like it was like DLC content.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was one of those games that, like, even to this day, there are still people finding little secrets in the game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's just really cool. Now, speaking of games like that, like I guess leading into like FPSs. What was the first FPS you guys ever played?
GoldenEye?
Redneck Rampage.
Wait, what?
Redneck Rampage.
Redneck Rampage?
What is that?
Redneck Rampage is an obscure, old, junky PC game for a long time ago. I mean, really, my correct answer would probably be Doom. But,
Doom.
Well, I don't know.
Redneck Rampage sticks out a little more. You run around with a shotgun and shoot strippers and chickens and all sorts of
Strippers and chickens.
all sorts of baloney. It was a stupid, ridiculous game, and I almost wish I could download it because.
I mean, one game.
The combination of things to be shooting.
If you want to class it as a game, there was a game on Nintendo which was called Mad Dog McCree.
Ooh, I think I remember that one.
What do you do there?
Well, it was like a western, and if you remember when like the old Super Nintendos come out, you used to have that plastic block that looked like a gun, and obviously you basically just like shoot bottles or had standoff with other cowboys.
Okay, so it's like a western version of Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunter.
yeah.
Nice. Reach
Okay.
for the sky.
Duck
But yeah.
Hunter would be my first.
Oh man, Duck Hunt.
Conker is your first.
No,
But Alan, check Discord. I've sent the link and also the artwork. That it's basically the writer from Rogue One, Star Wars, wants to pen for a movie for Star Fox.
Oh.
But look at that artwork though. That'd be sick if they made a film.
Oh my. I've seen this. I have. I didn't know that this was actual somebody trying to pitch an idea though.
Yeah, Rogue One writer wants to pen a Star Fox animated movie.
I'm gonna post this link in chat so people can check it out because that's really cool. All right. Now I want to introduce Ty of Scream Gals, who's just coming on in. Welcome, Ty. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing all right. Everything considered.
All right. Give Say our best.
Yeah, she's doing all right. She's just kind of tired. We ran into an issue where she was given a prescription and everyone's closed because it's Memorial Day, so she can't get her medicine until tomorrow.
Oh man.
So she's a little sore.
Oh.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh,
Yeah.
just tell her plenty of rest. Don't move around.
That's literally what I told her. I'm like, just sit down. Only get up if you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. All right, so we're actually talking about our first FPSs, and we're kind of leading into like more obscure FPSs.
Oh, okay. I don't really play FPS too much. I played GoldenEye 007 GoldenEye like on I think it was 64. I think that was my biggest FPS that I played, but it's not a game style that I can really get behind. I tend to point my gun at the sky while I'm walking forward. My brain can't do the two joysticks. I can do a mouse. Oh, I do like hunting games. Like I can do like Big Game Hunter or anything that's like on a computer, key and mouse. But yeah, anything with controllers, I end up being that idiot that you're just kind of like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, I don't know.
I get you. No, yeah.
Where's aim assist?
Looking at sky textures.
No, I'll just be like, guys, I thought this was Duck Hunt. But yeah, no, FPS has just never really been my strong suit.
Oh yeah.
I've been more like the role play, third person, POV.
Yeah, I get you. No, but yeah, definitely for me, my first FPS. I mean, if we're gonna go back down, it would definitely have to have been Duck Hunt. But first FPS that I truly remember enjoying was Doom.
Yeah, I never got into that one.
Doom was like my first like introduction to bloody rampage, and I fucking loved it.
Nice.
Now that we're like
PG,
10 minutes in.
PG.
No, we're 10 minutes in. We're okay.
All right. Okay.
Now one thing. I just want to bring up obscure FPSs. If you guys ever played this one, Armed and Dangerous.
No, but I think I've heard of it.
Oh man, you guys have to look this up. Armed and Dangerous. It was one of the weirdest games ever. It was the first game that ever introduced a land shark gun.
What?
Yeah, you literally shot out. It held a baby shark inside of it, and when you shot it out, when you shot it out, it would grow to full size as it burrowed into the ground, and it would eat whatever enemy was on the field.
That's awesome.
That sounds ridiculously cool.
It is. Oh man, if you guys haven't checked, like you guys have to look it up because the cutscenes alone from that game, just for how randomly hilarious it is, makes it worth it just to watch the YouTube videos.
I bet. I would love to look that up. Definitely would love to look that up.
I'm looking at it right now. It looks crazy.
It is. Armed and Dangerous was one of those like shooter games that you just went like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He just said what?
You're like, wait, what?
It was like Ren and Stimpy got shoved into a shooting game.
That's amazing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It says that it's like a parody, similar to Monty Python.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's just so much randomness.
Monty Python. I would love to see like an open world Monty Python like
oh yes
game. That the graphics aren't like polished like what we're used to, but they're just that like the old Elder Scrolls like graphics, like like it's very just like very very clunky kind of like you guys did your best kind of like cardboard and tape almost put together kind of a video game.
Okay,
I think
so you want like you want like classic Dark Age of Camelot, RuneScape 3D.
RuneScape. Oh my
the shoulders aren't 90 degrees. The graphics are too good.
Where it's not polygons. No. It's rectangles.
Yeah. Basically, like a really rough polygon. Like the just.
Everything looks like Final Fantasy VII from the old days.
Oh my
a little bit better than that. A little bit better than that. Like you've got like almost realistic textures on like the models. But but like the models are very clunky. I'm not talking like Minecraft because like Minecraft does that whole like like squared sort of aesthetic like really well. I'm talking like I said old ESO, like old like Elder Scrolls, the old like RPG games, but like their textures are really good. Like the old Vampire the Masquerade game before Bloodlines. Like,
okay, yes, I see. But
it's like Monty Python, and it's just like it's purposely filled with like random glitches. Like, I just think that'd be hilarious, and it's like based on their different skits, like different. It's not all like the Holy Grail, but it's like a little bit of Life of Brian, a little bit of Flying Circus, a little bit of Holy Grail. Just like, I think that'd be hilarious and a good throwback to nostalgia for people who would be fans of Monty Python, but also fans of older games.
I mean, that would be a great game because it would be like one of those games that wouldn't be there's not an objective to kill something. It would be literally explore the world, do the random goofy ass stuff, and just watch as chaos ensues around the world.
Exactly. I think it'd be really cool, like the different like villages, like if there were villages or something, like the different ones are kind of like themed around the different skits or something. Because there's the complaint. Have you seen the skit where it's the complaint department?
Yes.
And then like he like gets sent around to different ones. Like there's just like a complaint department. Like if you have an issue, you go to the complaint department, and it's just like that. I just think there's so many brilliant skits with Monty Python and all those guys like that. I feel like you could definitely base a very chaotic, like low quality like video game, like Goat Simulator. It's meant to be bad.
Oh man, it'd be pretty funny. Speaking of games that are meant to be bad. Now, have you guys ever played what was it? It was the Half-Life 2 mod. Dave's mod. I believe it was called.
Yeah. Or no, was it Gary's mod?
It was Gary's mod. That's what it was.
Gary's mod. Yeah.
Did you guys ever get a chance to mess with that?
Yeah, I have a little bit. I've not. We didn't play a ton of Gary's mod, but we have it. I've watched a lot of people play it more than anything.
It was. I spent a good, I think, almost 200 hours trying to make a robot in that game, just so I could blow it up.
Hours of work for seconds of satisfaction.
Yep. I mean, I think that's what like evolved my love for sandbox games.
Yeah, sandbox games are great. I do feel like that some of them, like I'm gonna go back to Minecraft here. Like Minecraft, I love that you have that ability to kind of play it how you want. But I also feel like when you start getting into the mods, there's just too much there. I'm like, I grew up with simple games. So when you have 7,000 mods or mod packs on your Minecraft, I'm like, I can't even use redstone in vanilla.
Yeah, no, redstone's a little complicated. It is. I definitely agree.
You know me and electricity.
Yeah.
You know how well we get along.
No, they don't. You don't. You don't get along.
Yeah, we don't. We do not. We absolutely do not.
Now,
when
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say when I grew up, I can agree. Like growing up simple, because I didn't really grow up with like a console, and so I don't know if you guys remember like the Tiger games. My first, like the Tiger handheld games where like it would be like Sonic, and like you could just like it was just like a handheld game.
It was like one of those little those black 8-bit screens.
You're damn right, yeah. And so I could totally agree when you go into like if I go into a sandbox game now, growing up with those games when I first started, I'm like, there's too much stuff. It's overwhelming.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, when you think about it, games back in the day, like Mike Tyson's Knockout. It was
Oh my
it was
God.
2 buttons and a movement. It was all. That's all it literally was. It was punch, move. When actually more likely it was get punched, die, scream, put another quarter in, and try it again.
Versus, say, a game like Elite Dangerous with a billion keylines.
Yeah, right. Oh God, that's
Yeah.
dangerous. I mean, we gotta think about how far games have come since back in the day, with what
I mean,
what
for
we
real.
expected from games.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, okay, so on that note, like, look at just the Zelda franchise. Like, how many times has, like A Link to the Past been like, you have your original Link to the Past, you have A Link to the Past for GBA, and I think they also remade it one more time for something else. I can't remember what.
Well, they didn't remake it. They just released it for the virtual system on the
Yeah.
Switch.
Yeah, but like still, it's like still like been
Oh, yeah, no,
gone
it's-
through a lot. But
Well,
like,
and then A Link Between Worlds reiterates on that. Now it is a sequel, but it is basically the same world, which is kind of
Yeah.
neat.
and
Ah.
then like you have like so many like if we even look at just like Alan, I know that Art, you might remember this. When Twilight Princess was announced and you could pre-order it, I pre-ordered it 2 years in advance because they kept delaying it. I remember talking to you about it, Alan, a lot because they delayed it to the point where they're like, you know what, we're gonna have the Wii come out. We'll just wait to release it with the Wii and do it on the GameCube. But if you look at like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, I thought Ocarina of Time was the shiz. Like, I thought those graphics were great. I thought Epona, looked so realistic for what video games could do. And then now I look at, Red Dead Redemption and the horses they have in there, and oh. But don't get me wrong, I still think Ocarina of Time, can hold its own in its original format. But it's just, we've seen the re-releases of, some old games when they're just most recently, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake. You can just compare those two. We can just compare those two. If you just look at how Cloud looks in Final Fantasy VII Original, and we were fine with that. We were like, this is good. This is great. I like this. We didn't play them for the graphics. We played them for the story. We played them because it was fun. And now our expectations are, if it doesn't look like I could pull them out of the screen and they can sit next to me, it's not a good game. People are all about graphics now. They're all about, is it 4K? Is it this FPS? Is it this statistics? And it's I feel like there have been a lot of games that could have been better if they had focused on story. I'm not saying that goes for every new game, but I do feel like there are some games that they focus so much on making everything real looking and feeling that there may have been some aspects of story that were thrown to the wayside.
I mean that is the sad truth of it, because there are so many games that have been released that it's ooh, that's pretty, but oh, I don't want to play it anymore because it's boring. And that's the sad truth of it. Yes, games have to progress. We do have to progress in graphics and everything like that, but that doesn't mean that story making has to go to the wayside.
Exactly.
Biggest example for me would definitely have to be the Mass Effect series.
I never played it, but I heard it kind of fell off a cliff.
From Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3, the graphics turned and changed so much, and it's much better. But the story ending, it's just what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, I get that. And I feel it doesn't have an older counterpart, but I do feel an example of story and graphics. I don't know how many of y'all are going to know this game, but Outlast. I am actually playing.
I love Outlast.
I haven't played the second one yet, so please no spoilers, but I'm playing through the first one, and I actually saw a playthrough of the first one and Whistleblower, but their graphics may not be the top tier graphics, but for when it came out, I think it was even an indie produced game at the time, it has a really good thought out story. If you read the notes that come up, the documents that come up, it is involved. It is very detailed in like who these characters are. There are characters you never see, but you feel like you know them because they're written about in all these little aspects of the game. But the graphics are also very realistic. Like there's some aspects of it that obviously like you're like, okay, that doesn't look super realistic. It is not the most polished, but like to have that balance of graphics and story, I feel like Outlast is a really good example of that because they didn't sacrifice one for the other. Like you can have games that have a really good story, but visually you're not captivated. Visually you're not pulled in, so it's hard to keep your focus when you're looking at something that's just boring. Yeah, so I feel like Outlast really showed that balance. I can't think of a game that's like a good example of that balance that doesn't go too far into one category that's more mainstream right now, because like if you look at Assassin's Creed, a lot of them are very pretty and they also have a very deep storyline. They right now are pushing really far into graphics.
Trip, you got any opinions on this? Trip?
He fell asleep.
No, he's
Totally.
talking with his wife. But,
I got something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you were mentioning like games that the graphics not suffer, but they're not like as pretty, but it's hard to like have like a dedicated fan base, like a big one. I played Dead by Daylight, and my first thing when everyone was telling me to buy the game, I remember looking at it and looking at the trailer, and I was like, and I'm coming from, my favorite game is Far Cry, the whole series, so I like pretty games, and so I didn't buy it. And then it went on sale. It was like $10, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I told my buddies, hey, let's buy it and like have fun. And this was like 2 months ago. Now I went from being like variety, playing everything, and now I'm so sunk into the Dead by Daylight realm now because the story is so great. It's like Outlast, where like if you get past like the first 10 minutes, you're like, I'm in. I'm
you just
so
can't leave it. You just can't leave it. And I think like an even older game that kind of shows us as well is also very much an indie game was Amnesia. Like Amnesia was another game that like the graphics aren't like the best, but that you don't feel like you're completely in a virtual world either. Like they're good enough that you feel immersed, especially because it is a first person game. But the storyline is so incredibly fleshed out. And I feel like that's what, like, as kids, like, we didn't care that if Mario Kart was clunky. We just had fun. We didn't care what the graphics were. What's the name of that JRPG that has to do with the moon that Markiplier played? What? To the Moon. So, like, To the Moon is one of those, I don't remember how old it is now, but, like, it was one of those, like, kind of an 8-bit style, but, like, the story will, if you don't cry, you don't have a soul. Like,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to play it. I think it wants me to play it, or you want to play it? I don't remember which, but we definitely, like, want to have it, like, played, and that's just one of those games that, like, the graphics don't even matter. Like, their little, like, RPG, like, maker stuff, and it's been around for a couple years now, but, that's something that, I really like, but we also get those games, like, you said the artwork and the cutscenes. Like, I think there was that very harsh transition of 8-bit to, like, fully fledged cutscene. Back to 8-bit. Yeah. And then now we have games where, like, I was playing God of War, and I was literally standing there because I was like, is the cutscene over? Can I control now? I really actually can't. Like, I could not tell the difference between gameplay and cutscene. Like,
yeah.
So I definitely think that there's a lot of missed artwork in some old 8-bit games, some truly talented people who put a lot of effort into these games.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
for sure
something that's definitely missing. And Bearbrush, Art, did you want to add anything into this?
He's gone, dude. He fell out.
What? Oh.
He's not in the voice chat anymore.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, he had to go. Oh, that's all right.
Nah,
don't worry about it. He probably had an emergency. It happens. So, okay, then, Sophie, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I don't really I mean, nostalgia. Honestly, the first time I saw the graphic for Borderlands, the original one, I was really turned off by it just because of the art style. But after I think my brother was playing it, and I actually got to see gameplay of it, I was like, oh, this is a game. It's actually nice. And then you play it, and you stop really caring about the weird comic book style art that they do. Otherwise, most of the games that I played were like Pokemon. Yeah, pretty much Pokemon. I never really ventured out very far. Spyro.
Oh, Spyro, yes.
Oh, yes.
Spyro. Honestly, I find that Crash Bandicoot is easier to play way back when on the PS1 than it is now when they remastered
100%.
it, and it is literally the same game.
Yeah, I was trying to play it, and I just about like threw the controller into the TV because I was just so frustrated. I was like, "You were a simple game."
Yeah.
Interesting
Crash
little
Bandicoot
tidbit
1 is
about
so
the
hard.
game is the reason why it's so hard is they changed the timing of how you when you press like the actual input timing of when you press the buttons versus to
I
how
never
it
played the
responds.
original.
Oh.
Oh, also, really quick thing. Hey, Alan, you know
Yeah.
how you mentioned Evo?
Yes.
So on our Discord, one of the people on our channel, he actually just posted in our gaming a text channel, Evo, saying that they played it and it's very good. And I'm just like, the
You got-
timing of that.
Well, I think they're in also our in my Twitch right now talking as well.
Eric? Is it Eric?
Well, it's named D.
Oh, Dyren?
Yeah.
Dyren? Yeah. Oh, hi, Eric. He's one of our regulars on our
Yes,
stream.
I'm here.
So.
Oh,
Yes,
well,
he-
yes,
okay.
it's me.
What's up, Eric? I
Yes,
didn't know who
okay.
Eric is, but now I do.
So,
But yeah, Crash Bandicoot is just. Oh, I got so mad. I got so fucking mad.
Trip, if you're there, sound off.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Have you played any of those old PS1 games?
Which one? Sorry.
Like Spyro or Crash Bandicoot?
Oh yeah,
Twisted
I
Metal.
I've played all the Spyros.
Oh man.
Same.
Spyro's so
Twisted
good.
Metal was a really weird game. The graphics are terrible. It's like very boxy cars, but it was so good. Which is weird because I don't like PvP style games because I'm just terrible at PvP.
Yeah.
And it was actually one of the more interesting games, and you can get so much better playing against the same person over and over and over again. And eventually you're on even footing, or you could start to beat them. Where when they started transitioning to online gaming, it really didn't. It definitely changed that whole PvP mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Other weird games that jar you from like cutscenes to graphics, like Final Fantasy 14 does it, just because it being an MMO. World of Warcraft, all of their movie trailers are like these super stunning trailers, and then you go into the game and it's just like, what? Is this the same thing?
Yeah, no, definitely get that. I mean, it's a lot easier to do that on games that are single player. Like if you look at Warcraft 3 and you compare the graphics that were in there to the actual cinematics, there's a little bit more, I guess, connection to it, you could say, because they put more detail into those sprites that they could have than they did with the sprites that they have in World of Warcraft, because of the fact that they don't have to worry about bandwidth and all of that extra stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although I have seen a lot of online games getting higher in their graphics, but
Oh, yeah,
I feel like that's gonna correlate with the evolution of our internet and with what like speeds we are like what we can handle. Like it's not just what your computer can handle, it's also what your internet can handle. Because like some people will be like, oh yeah, I can't play X game because my internet can't handle it, but they can go on and play Flash games. Like oh my god, Flash games are my other thing that I played all the freaking time.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Loved Flash games.
Did y'all play
Miniclip.com.
Congregate.com with K?
Newgrounds.com.
Oh god, no, not Newgrounds.
No, we're not. No, we're not even gonna go there. No, Congregate was where I was mostly, and like there were a lot of some really good Flash games. They're very basic. Like, what is it, Fancy Pants Man? Fancy Pants Man. I love that game. It was so great. Your pants like determined your superpower, and he was like a stick figure with drawn pants. Like that was it was so good. But it was like literally a stick figure.
I think the best one that I remember from middle school though was Stick Figure Arena. Love that game.
Yes.
It's so sad though that the Flash is becoming extinct.
Yeah, that's kind of sad because it's like I've heard that it's just not being supported anymore pretty soon, or it already isn't supported.
By 2021, it will no longer be supported by any web browser.
Yeah, which means that you can't really play any of those games.
Happy Wheels.
Actually,
no, Happy Wheels, I think transitioned out of Flash.
And actually, there is a database that has pretty much all the Flash games, and it runs off of a JavaScript server so that you can actually play those games still.
Well, that's good. I know, like, okay, don't at me, but I know that Neopets did something similar where, like, they kind of archived a lot of their old games because they were all Flash-based, and they needed to make room on their servers for the new games. And so they actually have what was called, like, a games graveyard, and it would take you to a different server, and you could still play all of their old Flash games. And, like, I actually really liked... I was in the game section a lot for Neopets, I'm not gonna lie. Destructo Match was my jam.
Oh, man. Mine was Neg Snake.
I like Neg Snake a little bit, but Destructo Match. I'm a Tetris person. Pokemon Puzzle League, like those kind of games have always been like my thing. So
oh no, I did I did the Neg Snake because it was the most profitable one to do.
Oh, for sure, but like, I was good at Destructo Match, and I could make some pretty good Neo Gold or Neo Points, whatever
Neo
it was
Points,
called.
that's what they were.
That one. I was like,
Neo
Neo currency stuff. But yeah, no, Destructo Match, I got some of the higher scores. I got close to the leaderboard sometimes, because I just played it so much. But yeah, no, it's just like thinking about it. Like, there's all these games that people spent hours and hours and days and months making, and it's just kind of sad that like gaming has transitioned to a point where like those were we grew up with those with the wee beginnings of the internet. Like that was our entertainment after school.
Yeah, but that's what apps evolved from.
Yeah, no, definitely, because like I hate to bring it up, like Farmville's an app now. Like, but it used to be a Facebook game. Yeah, Farmville has an app. There's a lot of Facebook games. Like I played like Merge Dragons is a game that I've been playing for years now, and I'm just too stubborn to let go of it. That actually was a Facebook game, and so you log in with Facebook, and so I used to be able to play Merge Dragons. Not Merge Dragons. It's Dragon City, and I don't play that one anymore. But that was a game that I could log in on Facebook and play, or I could log in on my phone and play. And so yeah, no, Facebook had a lot of games as well that were, I don't know what they used. It wasn't Flash, something else, but they've turned into apps. And so yeah, no, definitely our new app gaming or phone gaming has definitely evolved out of a lot of these Flash games that kind of like laid the foundation, but I just don't feel like it'll ever quite be the same.
Oh no, it won't, because guess what? Those app games are there to make money. Those Flash games were not.
Exactly, and I think again that's where honestly the kind of criteria, because you asked earlier, like our expectations for games, like what are our expectations for games? I don't think matters so much because it's more what the developer's expectation is. Like, is their expectation to make money? Then they're obviously gonna cater to whatever they feel like is gonna make people put that first purchase down. If they have a really pretty game. It's just like movies. If they have a really good trailer, it doesn't matter how good or bad the movie is, people are still going to pay for that ticket, which means they still get them. So if people still are going to put that $70 to, like, for example, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the Ultimate Edition, the pre-order is $120.
Oh God,
that's a lot of money for a video game. Like
the thing is as well is that you've got to like games started getting really bad about 2 years ago in the fact of money making when PUBG first came out, because PUBG come out and developers were like, oh shit, this is actually making quite a lot of money, followed by Fortnite, folled by Call of Duty, Apex.
Yeah.
It's all just been a money grab, and like PUBG, when it was in its first stages without having to buy keys to open, the crates, was fun because you earned it by playing the game. But now you have to spend money on the keys, you have to open the crates, and that's why there's been a lot of things going around recently of all like EA with their FIFA shit. In certain countries, it's now banned and illegal to sell the FIFA coins or the FIFA packs because it's classed as gambling. And you know yourself, like there's a lot of kids that play FIFA. You know, there's a very small amount of game developers now who actually make games because it's what they love.
Oh yeah, no, and I get where you're coming from, because like, again, like I said earlier, I play a game called Merged Dragons because I like dragons, and I started playing the game as like a time killer years ago, and it's just like it's one of those games that like it has kind of an end goal, and so because of that, like I'm made it like my personal vendetta to just like finish it. But like I've watched the game actually go from its original indie developers and creators to being bought by I'm trying to remember the name of the developer now, but they also bought another game called Flutter, and it's just like Zynga has it, I think is what it's called. Graham Games Limited had it, and then somebody else bought it. But basically, the thing is that they kind of have been, passed through a couple different hands, and I've actually seen a difference. So before, it was like they have treasure chests that you can open without any like there's always two different types of currency in a game. There's like the easy currency, and then there's you can earn it in game. You're probably going to have to buy it currency, which is usually like gems or diamonds or some like super fancy thing versus gold. So gems is what they have. And there are chests that you have to spend gems to open, and there are chests that are free to open. And so back when it was in its original developers, when you'd open the free to open chest, you get a bunch of stuff, bunch of items, bunch of really helpful stuff. And that was that. And then you'd get the pay to open ones, like from harvesting things, from playing levels, etc., etc. Now that it's passed into bigger developer hands, and now that like a bigger company like oversees it, I've noticed that those free to open chests
are now paid.
No, they're not paid.
Or give you less than what you...
Items, they give you less items, but they also spit out more chests that are paid to open. And it costs anywhere from like 8 gems to 120 gems to open, and you can earn gems. Like I've actually earned like quite a few gems through just playing the game, but it takes so long to do that you almost are like, if I want the good stuff, I have to pay money. And it's not quite a pay to win, because it's not like a win, there's not a win, but like it's just these little microtransactions that just make the game less fun. And that's why it's like
the thing is, you've also got to look at some of these games as well. They basically cockblock you from progressing unless you pay for stuff. And it's developers not just of like mobile games, but like one of the biggest sort of companies to actually be slapped on the wrists quite hard was EA with Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh, God.
When they added their loot box system, all of the best stuff, which was like pay to power basically, was paid, not earned in game. Now I have no issue with developers who, like Warframe, for example. Warframe is a completely free to play game. You never have to spend any money. Obviously, there is a waiting time. Like if you want to, like a Warframe, once you've got all the parts, it takes 3 days to build. Well, it's 12 hours for each part, and then 3 days for the actual frame build.
But it's doable.
Yeah, so you can wait for the Warframe to build, or you can pay 50 platinum. Now you can get platinum by just playing the game and then trading on the market. But obviously, if you're not that type of person, then you can just wait the 3 days. But with the content that they've got in Warframe, being it completely free, I have no issues with them selling skins for Warframes or anything like that, like cosmetic items. But when a big development company like EA, who have made some really good games in the past and have now sort of started to flop because they're focusing on the greed, that's devastating for a company. You would get more people if it was just cosmetic items and an actually fully finished game than you have to pay $12.99 to get this mod, which makes your character stronger than anybody else who's just playing the game who's not spent money.
Exactly.
That sort of shit should not exist in video games.
And that's how Smite is as well. That's why I really press people to be like, when they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to play another game that I have to spend money on. I'm like, well, here's the deal with Smite is you can completely play it free. So Smite has, obviously, you're only given 10 gods for free, and then they do rotate anywhere from 3 to 4 gods. I think it's one every week they change. But you earn what's called favor. Favor is the in-game currency that's kind of like gold in other games. You earn that, and you can unlock gods with that. Yeah, it's going to take you some time. And yeah, there are people who've been playing the game for years who don't have every god unlocked, but you can still do it, and you unlock the gods that you want to play. There are also game modes like Assault, where you are given a random god, whether or not you own it, and then you get a chance to try out a god that you otherwise wouldn't really get to play. You can rent the god, which costs significantly less favor than buying it. And there's also a practice mode where you can go in and just kind of like play around with different things with a god that you don't own. Like literally any god is available. Mostly favor if you don't want to deal with like building up favor, you can spend $30 and unlock every single god in the game, but you don't have to do it. Then they also have like an event which is called a battle pass, and you can earn your battle pass points just by playing the game, and you still get some really cool like loot. You get some really cool stuff. But if you want more stuff, which isn't really like anything that helps or hinders your gameplay, you can pay real money to buy more gems and unlock it. But again, it's not something that like affects gameplay. It's all cosmetics. It's all cosmetics. And it's like that, I feel like, is a good way to go about it, because people are all about the aesthetics, so they're definitely gonna like want to pay money.
Right.
I mean, one thing. Sorry, just before you cut in, Alan. One thing that I do have an issue with certain games is like in the past, like you mentioned, they switch hands. Like a game will switch hands to another development team, and then what was free is now sort of paid for. I have a massive issue with, and I'm going to use like Bungie for example, who make Destiny. They make nice looking games, but then they hide what is supposed to be in the game at launch behind DLC.
Oof.
Like with like Destiny 2 when that first came out, you had like 11 missions, and they was super quick, and then the rest was just like a grind, and then they come out with a DLC which was like another £30. and then you look. Oh, hang on. Yeah, and then you've got like the DLC that comes out, and then you're playing through the DLC, and you think, hang on, this should have been in the story to begin with.
Yeah, I definitely have seen that. Like, I feel like I think with the internet, and being more connected to more of a network, I do feel like DLC paid for content, it has become a bigger thing because again, people see that money, but it's like games. I remember back when games like new cost like $20, and I do understand that economy changes. We now, again, like I said, Valhalla is $120.
Yes. Now, okay. I had to interrupt you because I love the fact that we're having this conversation, but I wanted to actually save this microtransaction conversation for another podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this was just like a little bit into sort of like how nostalgic games were good compared to like nowadays games.
Yeah.
You know, because you got all the content, you got everything. There were no microtransactions. You got everything that was supposed to be in the game, and yeah, the way that it's just changed has annoyed a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it is sad because it has changed the evolution of gaming in a big way, in a way that and it honestly doesn't favor us as consumers.
No, not at all.
And it's sad. It is, and it's and like I said, this is something that I want to leeway into a bigger conversation because I did want to do a conversation based on game economy as well as microtransactions. What has changed in the gaming culture because it has changed a lot. But I did want to keep this stream based on nostalgic gaming, just for that sake.
It's like I said in the last podcast. One of the best and worst things that's ever happened to gaming was online. Due to the fact that developers have become lazy in making games, putting in the time and the effort. Yes, I know, obviously it's all magical graphics and, everything looks pretty. But you have a look at, say, like Sonic. Like, back when Sonic was first introduced, it was a full, complete game. There was very rarely any bugs. Any game from, like, the Sega, the SNES, anything like that. As soon as online come, it was good because of the people that you get to meet and you get to play online with your friends. But the worst thing was lazy development of games, where
Rush
they
development.
can go right. Our what they call like our investors are pushing for this game to be released, and we need to release it now so then they can get their money back.
Well, it's kind of like TV shows too, like when they get canceled or whatever, they have to rush an ending because they weren't expecting to have it ready by that time. It's like, oh yeah, so we need you to have this game out by April 16th. Do it. And you're like, well, we were expecting to get it done by like September 18th. And you're like, that's a whole lot of months that you're just stealing from us. But like, for example, though, like I mentioned earlier, I waited 2 years for Twilight Princess to come out because it was being worked on. They were getting little bugs taken care of. I may be biased because I am a SNES and Nintendo girl, but I feel like Nintendo, out of a lot of the game developers, really at least used to take their time to really iron out bugs. They wouldn't like release a game unless they felt it had been combed with a fine-tooth comb. Not just kind of like, oh, it's functional. Like if there was a glitch in the game, it was meant to be there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like in Nintendo's defense, you can't bunch them in now because they have opened up their platform to indie games. Mm-hmm. But the games that come out from their specific companies, like Game Freak and such like that, they still come out as a full, complete game. Even the DLCs aren't necessary. Like, you do not need them to finish the game. You do not need them to play the game. You do not need them to even get the full extent of the story. And the ones that you do need the full extent of the story for, they have them for free.
Yeah, no, and that's why I've honestly, I've always loved Nintendo, and for me, I really don't feel like I got a good experience of the multiplayer universe of old gaming because I had my brother,
Oh
but
God.
yeah, need I say more, Alan?
No,
You
you do
know.
not. That's
Um,
just like he's toxic, sadly.
Yeah, so sadly my brother is very toxic. I mean, I do have a lot of great childhood memories with him, but we played like Mario Kart or, we would play Mario World two player and of course they're always fighting over who's Luigi, who's Mario. But like, I didn't get to play Mario Party unless I got invited to someone's house. And, like it's I just feel like there's a whole like section of nostalgia that I'm missing because like there are so many people who go like, oh yeah, we would play Mario Kart with like myself and my bunch of friends, and we would like rotate who would get to play, and it's like I gotta play against my brother and sometimes my mom, and I got like I think Sophie mentioned that you can play PvP and you start to learn the other person and you get really good against that person. And that's what happened with me is I learned how to play and beat the other people I was playing with. And my brother and I would play like Pokemon Stadium. Oh Lord, I love Pokemon Stadium. That was like a dream come true. Like seeing the Pokemon like in 3D and actually like watching them do their moves while they were battling, that was so cool. But
That
like
was.
I started leaning into games like Hey You Pikachu, Zelda. Like I would play Mario, single player. I never got into like Mario Sunshine or Mario 64, which I think was their first like 3D.
Yep.
Like
It
for
was the
me,
first 3D.
Mario was
Well,
2D.
no, technically the first 3D was Mario 3D RPG for the Super Nintendo, but that's a little different.
Oh, I never played that one. I actually didn't even know about that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
it's
Cookie.
it's a very good game.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
But no, for me, I like the 2D. Like I said, I think I said in the last podcast. Wow,
Potty. Let podcast.
that is not the word that I was trying to use. But I loved Mario All Stars was one of my favorites.
Ooh, that was a fun
I
one.
loved how it was. I think it was for SNES, but it was a collection of NES games.
Yeah, it
So,
was a collection of the 3 original Nintendo
I think it had 5
Marios.
games on it.
It was 5. Yeah, it was something like that. It was like a collection of all of them.
Yeah, it was a collection of games, but man, did I love that one because they had one where you could play as Princess Peach. And you had
Yes,
Princess
that was Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah, I love that one. I love that one so much. Oh my god, like floating around as Peach. That was
Throwing
the
turnips
cool
at
stuff.
everybody.
Yeah. Oh my god, you'd pull
Yay,
turnips
throwing
up and be like,
turnips.
yeet! And she would just like
Emergency.
angrily throw them down on things like, and you just watch the Koopas and the Goombas just like
Die.
just die, and you're just like, I am beating people up with vegetables.
Oh, that's another good topic that you could do, Alan.
Hmm?
Video game movies.
Oh yes, that's actually one that's actually
We're
on
not
my
gonna
list.
talk about that.
Oh no, we
We're not
are. There are video game movies that we're gonna talk
No.
about that should not have existed.
Yeah.
No.
Super
Let me
Mario
tell you
movie.
right now, a Goomba, that was not a Goomba. That thing was not a Goomba. But yeah, in regards to how like gaming's changed, I think one of the biggest factors that's changed gaming is, on top of online gaming, is the rise and popularity of competitive gaming. I think
Yeah.
that is what sadly led to quote unquote the downfall of the gaming industry right now, because competitive gaming as it stands is at a standstill. It's stagnant because of battle royale.
It is and it isn't. It's like you have a look at Valorant. Valorant is like Overwatch /
Counter-Strike.
CS:GO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people playing that. Yes, the battle royale has taken over, but it's not really gone stagnant as such because you still have like the world things for Smite and all those other games. It's, if anything, it's actually grown over the last 5 years compared to what it used to be.
I mean, that's true,
Yeah.
but I also think that also plays into the fact that, you have these developers that are rushing games because you have people that are jumping on the bandwagon of investing in
Yes.
gaming, and they want their money. They want it now.
It's like I got I got a tweet by CD Projekt Red, who were making Cyberpunk 2077. When it was first originally announced that CD Projekt Red was making that game, the first tweet that I sent him is, please do not end up like all the other developers and add microtransactions. And the message that they sent me back, which wasn't exactly in these words, but it was more like a, hey, fuck you, we're not going down that route, is pretty good. But I have a lot of faith. Like, there's a lot of people that are saying Cyberpunk's going to be shit. But I know they're two completely different genres of games, but you have a look at The Witcher. Like, The Witcher 3 was a massive game. Then they introduced the DLC. Now, the DLC was basically like another game. There was that much content in it. It was insane. It was mad how much content's in The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I never
with
played
the-
it, but I watched it, and the amount of story they added in just one fucking DLC was amazing.
Yeah, and that's how DLC should be. It shouldn't be like, oh, here's 5 story missions. That's your DLC. Pay £30, because that's what Bungie does with Destiny.
Yeah,
and that's why I've stopped playing
Destiny
Destiny.
too.
Yeah,
Well, let's I was gonna mention AC Odyssey. I really like that you can obviously buy, what is it called, like the season pass or something like that, and all the DLC is like you get it, but it's not part of the storyline in terms of like you can play the whole ass and you get the full storyline, but the DLC is just like, one of the DLC is called Tales of Greece, and is Tales of Greece a DLC or is it part of the original game?
Tales of Greece. First off, that's a hilarious name.
Yeah. It's I think it was DLC. We got a deluxe version of it, so we don't actually know what was part of the base game.
Oh,
But
well.
like it's right problems. No. But anyways, that is just extra quests you can do. It doesn't really affect the main storyline. Like, you don't need Tales of Greece to worry about the main storyline. Then there's also the there's the Atlantis DLC, which is obviously completely removed from the original world because you're like in a simulation of Atlantis. So it's like, I feel like that it's kind of cool to see that games are able to expand more in modern day, because honestly, I would have loved some DLC for Ocarina of Time. Like there was a lot in that game, but there was no patch for that water temple.
Yeah. See,
I think
thing is,
everybody knows.
I miss what DLCs used to be. DLCs used to be just that. Extra content. You got the full game. DLCs were just little things they added into the game. Cost you $10-15. Now it's $30,
yeah,
and you still get the little things in the game, but it's 30 fucking bucks.
Yeah, I think that more has to do with inflation than anything. But like you're saying, it's for example, I didn't want to talk about it because you said you want to keep microtransactions to a different conversation.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot I can talk about with Assassin's Creed, with how they do microtransactions and how they do added content and how they do it right.
Yeah.
Versus other games. But just to stay on the nostalgia train, I do feel like there is that difference now with I feel like modern gamers, and I don't want to say that to be you kids and your easy stuff. It's more like when we were kids, if we didn't have friends who had played Ocarina of Time and we used that key on the wrong door,
You screwed.
and didn't save at the right time,
You so screwed.
you gotta start over. And the water temple isn't one of the first temples either. I think it was pretty far into the game. You're pretty good ways into the game
Oh yeah, no.
before when you get to the water temple.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I do feel like that's something that, while frustrating, I think is kind of part of the charm of old games too. Is that's frustrating. Trust me, no one wants to go like 3/4 of the way into a game and have to restart it, or be at Ganon and have your brother lose/sell your video games. You have to buy the new one and start the game all over, and then you never completed it because you got so frustrated. So I'm not speaking from experience. Anyways, I do feel like that was sort of the charm of it. Was like, you know, it's frustrating, but like it's a quirk. There's so many like little glitches, there's little like secrets, little things that like were left in just because they were missed. People who make these games are only human and they can only catch so much. And they did fix it when they re-released Ocarina of Time for Switch, I think it was.
Yes.
Like they fixed it. They got rid of that extra fucking door, or they gave you an extra key. I don't remember which.
Yeah,
but
they made it so that when you did the checkpoint, wherever the checkpoint was before you used the key.
Yeah, so like they at least did something about it, but I do feel like that's a charm that game, like almost everybody knows. If I say Ocarina of Time, Water Temple, I don't even need to say what the problem is. If you played Ocarina of Time or know anything about it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's something that, you know, modern games are definitely missing, and that nostalgia factor is like they don't have that like little quirk. They don't have that little like.
Well, that, and they're missing some of the game. A lot of games, not including Dark Souls, but a lot of games are missing a challenge factor nowadays. You know, I kid you not. This is an example that I go back to because I sat down this little 12-year-old who's like, "Oh, you don't know what real gaming is." And I was like, "All right, here, play Mega Man."
Oh, you didn't.
Oh, yeah, I did. I sat them down. I gave them my Game Boy Advance. I was like, here, play Mega Man. Let's see how far you get. Didn't get past the first boss. Just gave me back the game. I was like, okay, you know what? Forget it.
Right. Or like, you know, literally, I'm trying to think of some of the Game Boy games that I used to play. Damn, I have a lot of them. Really? Well, I mean, other than Tetris.
Or you know what?
Monster Rancher, was that one that
jeez. That was not a forgiving game.
That was when you got me into. Also, Golden Sun. Okay, so Golden Sun has, which by the way, completely underrated game. Like, if you have a chance to grab a copy and grab an old GBA, definitely play Golden Sun.
Oh, yes.
But like that game, has so many elements to it because it has the Jin in it, and you've got like your party. It's a turn-based RPG, but like it's very, very layered, and you know, like I feel like that game is very difficult. Like, despite the fact that it is pretty much a simple game, it is very, very difficult. There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of like memorizing this giant map. Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls for GBA. I actually had to restart my file. I'm just too proud to admit it. Because
a little tidbit about Golden Sun. You know what was the precursor to Golden Sun?
What?
If you ever played it, it was one of the most complicated and in-depth RPGs ever created for the Sega. It was called Shining Force.
I did not know that.
It was one of the first RPG games where class systems were given trees rather than singular linear paths.
I did not know that. But I think you or Tristan got me into Golden Sun. I can't remember who.
It was probably Tristan, because Tristan's the one that got me into Golden Sun.
Yeah, it was Tristan then. But I was gonna say that it was like a Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Like, people, you know, you get kids now who are like, you don't know what gaming is, you don't blah. I'm like, play Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls, and then get into the airship towards the end of the game, or middle game, I can't remember where in the game it is. Have one party member, no Phoenix Downs, no antidotes, and you're poisoned, and you either can walk around in a circle until you die, or you go into a battle with one of the guards. Right. That's it. Those are your options. You can't win.
Or you have those kids that go like, oh man, these turn-based RPGs are so easy. Okay, you know what? Here, you play Final Fantasy VII, you go against Ruby Weapon. Try that.
Oh, right. Like, even Final Fantasy, like, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, even though it's not turn-based, it's still, like, say played it on easy, but on normal or classic, like, it is still tough.
I'm glad, because the weapons were supposed to be strong and tough to fight, so...
I think one of the most nostalgic things about Final Fantasy VII was when you feel like...
You cut out.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with Final Fantasy VII, one of the best experiences, because it was like one of the first Final Fantasy games that I played, because I didn't care about the others. When I played that, getting to do the summons, like your first summon, which was like Shiva, I think it was insane. Like
first summon. Oh wait, when you fought them, or when you actually used it?
When you actually used them.
It's like it was Carbuncle, Ifrit, and someone else. Those were your first 3 summons that you were given. I can listen to that stream when we had to like narrate it. It's hilarious. But anyways, I think what they're doing is they're splitting the game up into sections because it was 3 discs. So they're just kind of being like, look, this is a big chunk of the game, and we're working on the next chunk of the game. I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but I do feel like they're going to cram as much like nostalgia into the game as possible, because that's honestly, I was watching some behind the scenes videos, and a lot of the developers were talking about like how the people who originally played this game aren't in that age group anymore. They're our age now. The game originally came out like 20 years ago. So
Yeah,
it's
it was first released on PlayStation 1.
And so they're keeping in mind that their audience has grown up. And so that's why, like, if you play the remake, there's some bad words in there. There's some, like...
Well, yeah, who cares?
Like,
honestly,
I
just...
Oh, no,
honestly...
I get what you're saying. I get what you mean by who cares, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like Squeenix really did, like, keep their audience in mind with the nostalgia, is what I'm trying to get at. They didn't try to take Final Fantasy VII and make it for a new audience. They know that the people who played it when it came out are still gamers today. And I think that is a really cool way of bringing nostalgia forward. Now, Breath of the Wild is another one that I really, really want to play, because I've heard that if you were a fan of the old Zelda games, this really does bring back a lot of...
Oh man, you haven't.
I don't have a Switch.
Oh,
my birthday's
right.
coming up. My birthday's coming up. Somebody want to get me one? Like.
Yeah. If I wasn't poor, I would.
30 days. My birthday's in 30 days, y'all. Like I would love to have a Switch. Trust me. But no, that's why I haven't played. Is I just don't have a Switch. Otherwise, trust me, I would be on that thing 24/7.
Breath of the Wild is definitely one of my favorite Zelda games.
Yeah, and I've just heard there's definitely different.
Stream
but
most of it.
I don't want to really watch a lot of streams for it because I want to experience it, like a first-hand experience. I've seen tidbits here and there. My friend has it, so I watched him play just a little bit to kind of get a teaser. But I really, really want to be like, I just want that like new game feeling. That nostalgia of like, because like I've seen the graphics. Because for example, if the new Zelda game comes out, my first thing is which of the 2 graphic trains did they take? Did they take the Wind Waker cartoony route, or did they take the Twilight Princess Wind Waker route? And they took like
they're not going back to the Wind Waker route for anything other than their handhelds. So
yeah, and that's the thing is I mostly play handheld with Zelda, and it's like I really don't like that style. I'd rather them go back to Minish Cap, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I love Minish Cap. I love Minish Cap.
That's a matter of whether or not like they're not going to do that. I don't even think they're going to be releasing another. Well, I mean, have you tried out the remake for Link's Awakening?
You know what? Can you give me like a minute? I can definitely tell you. I'm gonna go grab my games really quick.
Okay. Well, no, I think it's on the Switch, so.
Oh, well, I don't know which one I have. I'd have to check my games because I literally cannot remember.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds.
All right.
I really do need to go back and finish Breath of the Wild. At least the DLC.
No, you still haven't finished that out yet. Have you at least gotten the vehicle?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm on the Water Divine Beast round 2.
Oh my god! I just found Kirby Tilt and Tumble!
Nice. Oh man, Kirby. Alright, so I hate to have to do this, but we're gonna have to get to like closing statements and everything, because I gotta end the podcast and stream here, because my daughter needs to be waking up soon.
I have Zelda something. Zelda, no, it's A Link to the Past 4 Swords, and
Okay. So yeah, no, it's actually a remake they made specifically for the Switch.
yeah, then I have not.
Okay. It's a cartoony style, but it's really cool. Now, yeah, I want to open this up to any of the viewers. If you guys have any questions, anything you guys want to ask about, memories of nostalgic gaming that we had, anything you want to know, so on and so forth. We're all ready and waiting, anticipating, not the other baiting.
Patient.
Ugh. But yeah,
Oh my god, I just opened this and I forgot all my Professor Layton games, my gardening mama, cooking mama.
favorite Mega Man game would definitely have to be Mega Man and Bass, because Bass was one of my favorite characters, and I don't know why.
I don't have a favorite Mega Man game because I never really actually played them all that much. I just know them from other people playing, so I have no opinion.
And favorite NES game to go along with their favorite Mega Man question.
Anyways, but Cappy, do you have a favorite Mega Man game?
I actually never really played a lot of Mega Man.
Ah, okay. Trip?
Nope. They're all pretty decent. I don't think he had a fit.
Ah, all right. Now, favorite favorite Nintendo game?
Like Nintendo in general or a specific console?
Non-Super
Specifically
Nintendo.
Nintendo Entertainment
Yeah.
Center.
Yeah, the original Nintendo.
Oh, probably Duck Hunt. I'm sorry, but I literally played that game for so long. I got the highest score you could possibly get and only stopped playing because I got bored.
Duck Hunt and Mario.
Mario
Because
for
it was
sure.
combined,
Definitely would have to be Mario.
I guess I could say
Yeah.
Mario too, because I had the All Stars. While I played it on SNES, they were NES games, so.
Yeah. But those were definitely a lot of fun. I love the Mario, like original Mario games. Especially
sure.
when I found out that, you could actually just jump across Bowser and hit the freaking X. Yeah!
Wait, what?
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need to kill. You don't need to fight Bowser. You just need to jump above Bowser, over Bowser, and hit the axe and break the bridge, and you win.
Yeah.
Our mind's
Oh.
blown right now.
Well, there goes hours of my childhood.
Anybody else got
Right.
any
I mean-
questions? Now is the time.
I mean, we never did ask what our favorite retro system is.
Oh,
or
yeah,
nostalgia
what-
system.
Yeah, that's a good way to close. Let's way to
Sega.
close this out. What is everybody's favorite 8-bit system?
Sega.
What's your favorite 8-bit system?
Does Game Boy count?
Yeah,
Game Boy.
Yeah.
Game Boy. Well, a Game Boy Color for me.
Yeah.
Never had the
Yeah.
brick.
Game Boy Color or the NES.
Yeah. So yeah, Game Boy Color or SNES, depending on the game.
Sega Mega Drive.
I never got to have a Sega, so I didn't get that
Right.
experience except when I was at friends'
I had a
houses.
Sega Genesis.
Just because it come with Alex the Kid, and you also got Paperboy on there as well. Some old classics.
Yeah, I did love Paperboy.
Paperboy.
Claw Jam and Ale.
All right, sorry about that.
There's
So let's see.
a
What would be your
gaming,
favorite video game
uh,
character?
I was going to say, I forgot to mention how much I love Harvest Moon as well, because I just found all my Harvest Moon games on here.
Oh man, I love. Oh, I can't wait for the one that's gonna come out for the Switch.
What?
Yeah, there's one that's gonna come out for the Switch.
Oh!
I'm so
Yeah.
getting it. But
I have like a couple Harvest Moon games in here. Oh my god, it's ridiculous.
to be honest, Stearns, if I could be one video game character, that's a really hard question. But
Professor Layton, because he's so smart, such a gentleman.
So for the rest of you, the question is, if you could be one video game character, who would you be? While Alan thinks for a moment.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Leon from Resident Evil 4.
Okay. I mean, you want to be
Now,
in
are we
that
talking-
world.
Are we talking like nostalgic video game characters or like
I guess we
anything?
could do characters in general.
Anything with shapeshifting? Really?
I mean, okay, if it were like, I guess, dependent on like, I don't know. Shoot, that's really hard because there's like 7 different characters that I would have to choose.
Right? You're just like, I don't know, man.
Because I mean, Dante would definitely be one of my choices.
Yeah, I could see that for you.
What are you doing?
But
I don't really have an answer.
Can I just be generic Pokemon trainer?
yeah, there we go. Pokemon
Yeah.
trainer. There we go.
I would like definitely
Yeah.
want to be a Pokemon trainer just because like, why not?
I mean, if I would actually have to go with that one too, because honestly, Pokemon
Hey,
is like
listen, in some of the games you can pick boy or girl, so fight
Yeah.
me. Let's go. That's
There you
a
go.
loophole.
So,
Absolutely.
starting with Crystal going forward.
Which I have Crystal
all
too.
the
I just found my
previous
Crystal
Pokemon
version.
well, I
Doesn't
mean, the
work
remakes,
anymore.
the remakes for Silver and Gold, you could choose boy or girl.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yes, but those
Yeah.
were remakes.
Okay, fine.
And if you're talking about going from the originals all the way up, the first one was Crystal.
Yeah, that's true. It was.
Hey, but I also have Platinum, so fight me.
Mm-hmm.
I have all of them.
I also have Ruby. Or do I have Sapphire? Actually, hang on. I may have lied. I have Sapphire.
Ah,
No, wait. Oh, no, it's Fire Red. I have Fire Red and Sapphire.
What is your favorite Pokemon generation
Silver.
Oh.
or game?
Silver.
That's hard, because, like, I've got a soft spot for the original, because, like, that's what I grew
Same.
up on. But I have to say, I actually really, really liked Gold version. Like, I don't know what it was about it, but just, like, that generation, like, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, I really liked, like, where they were at with that. Like, they expanded it just enough that it wasn't, like, too big and too complicated. But
Yeah.
it wasn't, like, crazy. Like, I go to play Platinum now, and I'm just like, why do you need all these Pokemon contests and things? Like, what?
Yeah, no,
I feel like there's too much in Platinum, so
and
I actually
Silver.
did Sapphire, but Sapphire was the tipping point for me where it was a little too much. So
With the
I'd say
competitions?
that yeah, it wasn't just that, it was also the whole Team Magma thing. I don't know what it was, like Team Rocket's like without Team Rocket, it's just I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I just Heart Gold, not Heart. Well, I mean Heart. I do love Heart Gold. Don't get me wrong, because my Gold version I can't play anymore.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the Gold, Silver, Crystal was like definitely my favorite little like trio, because they each generation came out with like the one, the two, the combination. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite little release.
No, definitely for me would
my
definitely have to be
favorite-
Silver as well, because I mean, I love the Pokemon they
Yeah.
released in Silver. Lugia is definitely my spirit Pokemon.
Yeah, I love Ho-Oh based because fire based.
My favorite generation would have to be 3, because I played the shit out of those games. I would literally go from start to beating the Pokemon League in around 8 hours or less. And I would do that on a semi-regular basis with my Sapphire version. But I am quite partial to Gen 2, even though I did start with Gen 1.
Mm.
I just kind of like the whole idea that Gen 2 actually encompassed both Johto and Kanto, and you didn't just get done after you beat 8 gym. You actually got to go and do another 8. And they were harder.
That was
And
probably one of the
better.
better parts of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really wish they would make a Pokemon game where they either static, you have one region, but then, maybe DLC for unlocking the other regions.
Well, I think we
Or-
talked about like last week having the kind of like a online version where your
Yeah,
region was
something
based
like
on
that.
your
It would
geographical
just
location.
it would just be so much more interesting and encompassing. And with the way games are being built nowadays, I don't see why they shouldn't be doing that, even
Yeah.
if it would just be better if it was all a single and game.
Yeah.
But like honestly, once it passed, I'd have to say Gen 4-ish, I really stopped actually finishing the games. There are a handful.
Which one was Gen
5 and
4?
6.
Black and
Gen
white.
4 was Gen 4 was Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum.
Hmm.
And
Okay,
then
so that's
Heart
yeah
Gold
for
and Soul
me.
Silver.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver didn't have the Pokemon that Platinum had.
Right, but it
kept
was
true.
in
It kept
that-
true to its generation.
Yeah, it was built in that Gen 4 time when Gen 4 was the current generation out. It was just happened to be a remake of Gen 2.
Yeah, but, like, I wouldn't count it as a Gen
What's-
4 game simply because like it still has that Gen 2 feel.
well, yeah, but anything past those 5 games, I didn't actually fully complete because I lost interest in playing it because it was the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it got a
5
little
minutes
bit.
after you start playing, you know all of the type combinations, and yeah, you might be needing to learn new Pokemon, but once you see a certain Pokemon 2 or 3 times, you're just like, oh, that's beaten by this Pokemon. As long as I have something that can deal this type of damage, I can beat Pokemon really easily.
Yeah.
And it just
Became
took
monotonous.
away the fun of the games.
Yeah, I
But then
definitely
when,
agree that
X and
like
Y
having.
came out,
Oh, I didn't get to play X and Y.
Now,
X and Y brought it back so much, and I really enjoyed it. I was very happy with what they did with it. It made it so that I was invested in playing the game.
now, Cappy, do you have an answer for that question?
I would say gold.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know the first one, like the first Pokemon game I ever played was Blue, but when Gold came out, I liked how it introduced a whole new world, but you could go back for like that nostalgic feel and go, and you already knew where to go in the old world, which was cool. So
Nintendo.
They did it right with that one. Now, Trip, do you have an answer for this one?
Pokemon Go.
Get out! You're fired. Get out.
Pokemon Go.
Alan, kick him. You need to ban him.
No.
He's done. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, Pokemon Go. I guess that's good enough. That works.
Well, yeah, well, it was good because I didn't have to do fuck all. I didn't even have to leave my house, so yeah, I can't complain.
Yeah, I feel like Pokemon Go doesn't really fit
Fair.
in with like the rest of their games because it brought it to a different like
Well, it wasn't done by Game
Well-
Freak.
platform. No,
To-
that's
to-
right. It's done by someone else.
To be honest,
Niantic.
Yeah, Niantic.
I mainly watched more Pokemon than I actually played, so I couldn't give you an answer.
No, that's fair.
It's not really my.
Your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Well, I just never got the chance to play them, so
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, I still got my yellow version. You want to borrow it? you gotta get a Game Boy Color though.
Oh,
God.
all right, now it's sadly that time, guys. I do want to thank everyone for being here. Bear Brush, sadly he had to leave a little bit earlier. He had a little situation he had to handle. Sophie, Cappy, Ty, Trip, thank you guys so much for being part of the Bunch of Dudes.
No problem.
And everybody in chat, thank you guys so much for being here, and the follows, that was amazing, as well as the questions. Sternzig, appreciate it. Now, we're going to find somebody to raid with this, but I want to end this here, and I want to let you guys know that there will be another podcast 2 weeks from now, same time, same place, hopefully same cast. Maybe we'll add in a couple more. The not next episode, but the episode after that, we're probably going to be featuring a guest with us as well. So hopefully that'll be fun. But yeah, so thank you guys, everybody, for being here. And if you guys check this out on YouTube, please do like, comment, share, subscribe for more. We enjoy, we appreciate that all the support that you guys can give us. And yeah, we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks.
It's like RTC or something like that. I don't know, but there's an issue with that and XLR mics.
Gotcha.
And so I don't know if you noticed my mic